I'm arguing for the negative side, and my first argument is on the detrimental impact of social networking sites on national mental health. My first claim is that social media networks are currently negative impacting the United States by contributing to the overall mental health issues that we view that are experienced by the younger generations. My first data point is that various studies have revealed that there is a link between high usage of social media and the higher instances of anxiety, depression, and stress in our younger generations. My source for this is the American Psychological Association CDC Youth Risk Behavioral Surveillance. My second data point is that the social networks that we rely on of public approval, the social networks that we use quietly rely on the metrics of public approval that we've devised, such as likes, followers, and views, in ways that amplify the social comparison at key points in identity development, specifically in our teen years. My source for this is the role of false self-preservation and social comparison in excessive social media use, 2025. So, if the dominant communication system that an entire nation uses coincides with the psychological distress among the population responsible for sustaining future social, economic, and political institutions, then that system is ultimately weakening the nation. So the impact and the educational impact, due to the cyberbullying that we've seen, there's been a greater demand for schooling services because of mental issues. Now, in the economic impact, mental health issues have resulted in the lower workplace productivity and the increasing healthcare and absenteeism costs. In the public health impact, a disorder that starts with the individual and the self will quickly translate into the collective suffering of an entire nation, putting a long-term burden on our public healthcare systems. My second argument is that social media undermines the sense of shared democracy. My claim is that mass communication through social media undermines the stability of a democracy in America because it stresses expressive communication rather than informational communication. My first data point is that studies conducted have found that misleading information tends to travel faster on the internet than true information, as it contains more emotionally charged content, leading to greater amounts of clicks and views. My source for this is the MIT Media Lab studies on misinformation, 2018. My second data point is that most Americans get news through social media platforms where algorithms favor sharing and commenting over the accuracy and veracity of the true claims. Pew Research Center is my source. So, a democracy must have some common factual foundations, where communication technologies reward people for passion rather than argument. Public discourse becomes When communicative technologies reward people for passion rather than argument, the public discourse becomes negative. It becomes reactive rather than deliberate, where we've become a reactive society rather than an active one. The political impact of this is greatly found in elections, in which debates give way to policy, but in which debates over policy give way to struggles over reality itself, damaging democratic legitimacy. When we favor personalities over policy, we lead to a struggling nation in which we've given up on reality itself, as I quoted before. And then in the public trust impact, the trust in journalism, science, and governance deteriorates because misinformation competes on an equal footing with verified information. In the civic impact, people are polarized along these narratives throughout our entire nation, making it difficult for civic cooperation to truly exist. And my third argument, communication theory explains why these effects persist. My third claim, the principles of group communication and group persuasion explain why sites like social networks increase division rather than understanding within American society. My first data point is in Beauchamp and Buran describe how persuasion is constantly a matter of appeal and perceived credibility, far more than the logical evaluation of the message itself in both personal and mass communication. My second data point is that research in group and mass communication has demonstrated that exposure to similar perspectives increases beliefs and polarizes rather than facilitates a true dialogue amongst the people. So, since social media sites are specifically designed to leverage mechanisms of emotional persuasion and group-based reinforcement, they ultimately tend and lend to enhanced divisiveness and not critical reflection or integration. So, three impacts of this. Cultural. The cultural impact communications have become increasingly defensive rather than exploratory and damage the nation's capacity to sustain a comic civic middle ground. And the social impact. Emotionally charged content is more shareable and profitable. It gains extremes. The extremes of this gain visibility and large influence. And now the long-term impact. Civic cooperation has deteriorated to a great degree within institutions and interpersonal connections. The long-term impact of this is that civic cooperation has completely deteriorated, nearly crippling the nation within institutions and interpersonal connections, making it harder to maintain national unity. Now as a closing. Where the sites of social networking afford moments of connection and access, their collective impacts attest to a deteriorating national mental health, fragmented truth, and the degrading communication climate. The question is not whether social media can be put to positive uses, but rather whether it has ultimately strengthened this country. Viewed through the lenses of evidence and communication theory, the answer points to harm. It points to harm, not to progress. Thank you.